that in a preseason game?
It's less about I should say first, we know we have to win road games to be a good team to compete in the West and try to fight for seeding throughout the course of the season. Obviously, correcting what went wrong last year is important, but we're not really talking about it in that respect. It's more the sense of urgency on us trying to figure out what we look like this year, how we come together on both sides of the ball, build our chemistry, which we've been doing and putting time in for a while now. So excited about figuring out whatever the game within the game is on a nightly basis within the preseason to just feel good about ourselves going into the season. And if we can develop an identity over these next 4 games, knowing that we're going to be trying a lot of different stuff, that'll carry over to the regular season where you can have a lot more confidence that you can win road games because you can't do what we did last year.
What's the identity you want this season?
It's a smart basketball team that is connected, right? Like Coach has been saying that since I think he first got back from Team USA, talking about our team is we need to be connected, we need to be in a position where we all complement each other when we're out there on the floor. Obviously what CP brings, another great ball handler, somebody that can help orchestrate the offense. We have some more veterans on top of JK and Moses taking the next step in their young careers. We probably have some surprise guys crack the rotation to help us. So it's going to be by committee like it always has when we win, but I think a high IQ basketball team that understands, we're not going to have too many more cracks at this, so we've got to figure out how to do it now.
Steph, who has surprised you so far throughout camp?
I mean, it's not like BP's like guys that you don't know. You expect Klay to ball, you expect Loon to do what he does, you expect Wiggs to come back and assert his dominance on both ends of the floor. Like GP to be a disruptor out there. All the guys that we know, you don't take it for granted, but you expect those guys to do what they do. And when they have flashes, you're like, yeah, they're supposed to be doing that. Myself included. The young guys are obviously getting an opportunity. JK's been playing, really well in practice, and they had a great first preseason game. BP really been showing how much he understands the game of basketball at such a young age and how confident he is in himself. And that shows every time he steps on the floor, so that's been a nice surprise. But I just like the energy around here, from everybody, so that's been the biggest thing.
Steph, it's training camp, so it's early, but what have been the signs that you've seen that give you some comfort and hope that the partnership with CP will work for all parties?
One thing we can control right now is our collective focus and intentions on how we're going to try to play. The game itself will tell you what needs to happen as we go through the season. We can have the perfect plan and get thrown a curveball and with how teams are going to guard us or different play sets that work, some that don't work, and you got to be able to adjust on the fly. But as long as we're connected on trying to elevate each other, him trying to elevate us as a team, that has to be the intentions behind everything. And then, like I said, the rest will kind of take care of itself. So I like the way that we've been communicating. The biggest thing is for him to continue to be who he has his whole career. Like I said, he's elevated every team he's been on, and if we bring our egos and our collective competitiveness, but also understand there's going to be some sacrifice that needs to happen along the way from everybody, then we'll put ourselves in the best chance to be successful.
Have you two made a point of it to talk every day? Maybe are y'all watching film together just to stay in tune with one another?
It's more communication. There's not a lot of film really because he's such a unique player, and we have a style that, you know, he hasn't necessarily played. He's played against, obviously, but never where that's been like the bread and butter of the teams that he's been on because of his skill set. So if we can find that middle ground where he adapts and we adapt together, that's all been like the communication we've been having. It's hard to like have any real film to go besides like play sets and stuff to say, oh, this is what we're gonna run, because it's gonna look different when he's out there with us. That could be a really good thing. And then as you go through the rest of preseason, you get to a point where we understand truly what rotations are going to look like. Then you can start to get real specific with how we can be more, like the most, I guess, efficient with all the different looks we're going to throw out there.
Stood out to you about the way that Chris Paul scrimmaging the second unit, Steve mentioned
It's been a good balance of it all. Like, honestly, when you asked that question, I was trying to remember which session he specifically ran with the second unit, and it took me a second to remember because we mix it up a lot. But that's the big thing about him is he connects a lot of different lineups because he's such a good playmaker and decision maker and orchestrator of the offense. So it gives us a different look that we hadn't had in a very long time.
Another guy we haven't asked about is Klay. This is probably hard to be succinct about, but what has he meant to the success of your career?
I think like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, somebody asked a similar type question. It's like, there's no me without him, there's no him without me, and Draymond as well. You throw everybody in the group that's been a part of this journey. And so I'll probably write too long of like a little essay after my career's over with on like what that actually looks like, but we're all still here for a reason because we've complemented each other so well, and there's still confidence that we can win at the highest level together. And like all the experiences that we've been through, like none of the success that we've had, none of the banners happen without any of us, and Klay is as important to that as anybody.
Steph, is there an origin story at all to why your name is pronounced Steffen as opposed to Steven?
You gotta ask Jack and Juanita Curry out of Grottoes, Virginia. When my pops was born, because he was Wardell Steffen Curry, the first, I guess you would say. The Wardell name is a family name that's been passed down, but yeah, I don't know what they got the pronunciation for. I suffered my whole childhood because everybody called me Steven if they read it on the paper. Still to this day, I get it every once in a while. So I was contemplating putting like a little accent on my name in high school. Just being funny, just to make sure people didn't mispronounce it, but.
Has the CarMax people gotten the memo yet?
Huh?
Have the CarMax folks gotten the memo yet?
Yeah, on the contract it says, yeah, the phonetic pronunciation for sure.
So I'm a trying to my dad, he obviously thinks. He always goes by Dell, but did anybody ever call him Steffen or Steven? No? So it's just.
Nah, he was Dell from the jump.
Okay.
Just his legal name was what it was. And then nobody ever really knew about Wardell with me until high school. Yeah, from jump.
Steph, you dominated the GM survey. The GM survey, you're aware of it, of course, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
You dominated it. They said you're number 1 for taking the final shot, number 2 for leadership after LeBron, number 1 pure shooter, number 1 point guard, number 1 moving without the ball, number 1 makes the other team have to adjust the most, and then Nikola Jokic was right there. Which of those is most impressive for you, you're most proud of? Was the hardest for you to do?
I think I got to add one to that list I saw. I think I might have been on the shooting guard list too.
Oh, excuse me.
So that's probably the one I'm most proud of. It doesn't matter what people say what our position is. I still don't necessarily agree, but the fact that I can play on and off the ball and be as efficient on both is how I played my whole career, even back in high school. So that's the one I'm most proud of, in the sense that it's recognized as kind of a dual threat type situation, even though I am a point guard.
What do you think about them not picking you guys to win a title?
I repeat what Coach said.
It's Friday the 13th. Are you superstitious?
Oh, I'm very. But I used to, that was a big deal in my house growing up. I should say my house, for me. Used to watch all the Friday the 13th movies. Love Jason, the whole deal. So it's always fun when it comes around. Nothing more to it than that, though.
Are you going to be spooky tonight, maybe?
Nah. Wait till the regular season.
You also mentioned, you also mentioned that people still mispronounce it sometimes. Do you remember the last time somebody mispronounced it?
Where was that? Oh yeah, on vacation. Checking into the hotel and show them the ID and all that, but I usually, rooms might be under Steffen, and they read it the wrong way. Even though sometimes they do notice, but they'll correct themselves quick. But this one, particularly this summer, they did not correct themselves, so I had to correct them.
Where'd you go?
You plan to play all your main guys tonight?
Yeah. JK's questionable. Everybody else, obviously Draymond's out, but everybody else is good to go.
Minute-wise, do you plan to kind of eke them up
A little bit, yeah. Probably 20 or so.
I know in past preseasons you've usually picked one game to kind of sit guys. Is that still the plan, or because it's only 5?
We're kind of just taking it day by day. There's a good chance some of our vets won't play one of the games, but we haven't made that decision yet.
There's an opportunity on the road today in preseason. What's the tone this team needs to set on the road?
Well, I think, we started out so slowly last year, I think 0-5 on that first road trip. And so we know it's going to be important to get out to a better start this season, especially on the road. But preseason, that doesn't really enter my mind, this is basically like a practice for us. We're just trying to get better. I'm not really that concerned with the results, to be honest with you. I'm more concerned with the process. I want to play well. I want to see our guys handling the things that we're trying to get better at, and just get a little bit better before we get back to practice.
Steve, how do you see Wiggs kind of approaching this training camp now that he had the off season to obviously heal from his injury and not have to recover from that lengthy absence as well?
Yeah, Wiggs is in great shape, good spirits. He's a guy who, until last year, hardly ever missed a game in his career. So last year, obviously, there were a lot of circumstances that made it a difficult time for him. But he's in good shape, good spirits, playing well. So I would expect Wiggs to get back to being that Iron Man that he's always been.
The league kind of increasingly is like, say, cracking down on this like load management thing, or at least putting out that they want it curbed a little bit this year. I know we've talked to you a little bit about it, but what's your kind of overarching feeling on what the league is doing and how you think it might impact you guys this year?
I don't think anything's that different. I think I know the league, put out the statement, and they've put in a set of rules that aren't that different from the past. I think the way I look at it is if our guys can play, they're going to play. If they're banged up, then we gotta sit them, and we'll do everything we can to follow the league's protocol, and at the same time, keep our guys healthy.
I know there have been points in the schedule in the past where you guys are like, even before the season, are like, yeah, that's pretty much probably going to be a rest day for some of the main guys. Do you have to not do that this year and just go kind of as you get closer to it?
I think the main thing is just take it day by day. Even in the past, when we've sort of circled dates that might be a time where somebody's worn down because of the schedule, it all changes based on circumstances. So all of that stuff is just speculative. So we just take it day by day, see where guys are, and make decisions accordingly.
Steve, have you and Steph ever had a conversation about why he pronounces his name the way that he does versus yours?
That's a great question. And no, the answer is no. I've never asked him that.
Okay, how about this connection then? He was voted tops for moving without the ball. What's most impressive, I guess, about that, moving without the ball, especially as an older player?
I think what's most impressive in that regard is that he's also a brilliant pick and roll player. And there's just so few players who have ever been so good at both. You know, most guys are one or the other, you know, on ball dominant or, you know, Reggie Miller type come off screens, Klay Thompson, and Steph's both. And that's what makes him unique.
Steve, it's obviously early training camp, but what's been kind of your early takeaways that leave you pretty hopeful that you and the whole group can bring out the best in Chris and vice versa?
Well, Chris is a really, really smart player, one of the smartest players I've ever seen, you know, both as an opponent over the years and now this year during camp. You just see his intelligence. He's so thoughtful, he's so particular about every possession. Smart players tend to figure things out quickly, especially when they're playing with other smart players. So I have no doubt it's going to be a great fit.
How's his voice in the locker room complimenting other leaders like Steph, Dre?
Yeah, Chris is very vocal in a great way. You know, we need that. I think most of our team is quiet, other than Draymond. But I think, frankly, Draymond needs another voice in that locker room. I think, you know, we've been at our best over the years when we've had, you know, veteran guys who, you know, guys like David West, Zaza, Sean Livingston, whose voices really carried well in the locker room. And they're all different. You know, Sean was quiet but vocal when he needed to be, you know, said very important things when he had something to say. And same with David West. David was more than anything, just his presence was so powerful. And so everybody's different, but Chris is very vocal. Very smart, constantly asking questions about what we're doing in this case or that case, and I think this team can use that at this stage.
You've talked about him mattering in the non-Steph minutes. In the opener, you weren't able to play him in non-Steph minutes. Do you want to, I mean, you have limited minutes in the preseason, but do you want to get him out, you know, with the second unit at a time?
Yeah, we will. And, you know, we've been doing that in scrimmages a little bit too. So Chris will be out there, you know, with the second unit. Maybe not tonight, but, you know, going forward, we'll definitely start to mix and match some of the combinations.
You're playing the Lakers, so what stood out to you about, what's most memorable to you about Austin Reeves having the chance to coach him?
He's a great player. He is just a really talented, skilled guy, way more athletic than people give him credit for. You know, watching him with Team USA, he wants the big shots, he wants the big moments, embraces all of that, and really smart. You know, he sees the angles, he understands how the defense is guarding, and he always has a counter for everything, and just a great player.
He doesn't have the pedigree of some other players in his position. Why do you think he's been able to overcome that?
Well, he's skilled and talented. So, I mean, I don't know that the question is why he's been able to overcome it as much as why did 30 teams pass on him in the draft, you know, and it shows you how hard this is. We got a lot of smart people all across the league. But evaluating talent is such an inexact science, and you know, from what I gather, you know, he didn't shoot the three particularly well in college, and I think a lot of people saw him as a you know, as a three-point shooter, and now he's shooting the three lights out. So that's where maybe the disconnect came. If he had made more threes in college, you know, I know a lot of people liked him, but nobody liked him enough to draft him, and here he is now. You know, I think he's you know, one of the Lakers' best players, and you know, maybe their most important player. You know, given where they are as a team.